So you've just sold a residential property investment and now you have a capital gains tax. You've got to do the 30-day reporting and you've got to make an adjustment on your self-assessment tax return. How do you do all that? Well, check out this video as I explain how. Hi, my name is Simon Misiewicz from Optimize Accountants. I'm here to grow your wealth whilst reducing your tax liability. And in this video, we're going to be talking about capital gains tax reporting and the payment that you have to do within 30 days of disposing of a residential property. Indeed, you will have to do some adjustments on your self-assessment tax return as well. How much tax do you need to pay? Have you paid too little or have you paid too much? Well, this video will help explain that. Now, I have already provided a video of capital gains tax reporting to HMRC of how to go online and submit your 30-day report to HMRC, and indeed how to pay your CGT to HMRC using their online system. So go ahead and check that video. That's why it's long, because there's so much content on there. And finally, I've said, well, 2021, there could be a huge capital gains tax change that's coming to force with the OTS report that's been recommended to Rishi Sunak. Now, I have created an article talking about capital gains tax rates and all of the allowances that helps you to minimize your capital gains tax when you're selling a residential property investment. So go and check that article out. The URL should be appearing above my head right now and below this video description. Now, every Wednesday, I'm on my online community to answer your tax questions. So if you're in business or if you've got property investments going on, you may have some business or investment questions that need to be answered. You may have some tax questions that also need to be applied. What about the capital gains tax changes, legislation changes? How will you know about all these things? Well, you could look at Facebook and get okay information, or you can go on online community and get the experts to answer your question. I'm going to be there every Wednesday at 7 p.m. to join the fellow community members and help them get their answers straight away. There's a 28-day free trial, so make sure you take advantage of that today. Now, when we're talking about tax and capital gains tax, when do you need to pay it? Well, it's actually going to be 30 days after your completion. Now, you've got a very finite period of time to get this done, because not only have you got to report to HMRC that you've got this gain and to pay this gain over to them, but you've got to get a username and password. And we're talking about HMRC, for heaven's sake. So it can take a long time before all this information comes through to you correctly. So you've got to now get a username, password, go onto a system, register, and then submit your report. Then you need to pay it. But not only that, but you've got to calculate the capital gains tax. How do you know it's right? Have you used an online tax calculator? Have you spoke to your accountant or tax advisor? You may not have the time to do all of that, so some assumptions may have been put in place. Now, you've got to make the payment, as we said, within 30 days of disposal. But you also need to pay on the 31st of January. It does say here not to pay the 31st of January. What you're paying on the 31st of January is any tax that you have not paid enough to HMRC, which is going to be called the CGT adjustment. Now, what happens? What you will do is you do your tax returns. Most of you might look to do this on the 31st of January. It's almost like a celebration day for many of you. So you'll do your 31st of January tax return on that date, but then you've got to look at your CGT and check out any errors. Have you put in the wrong numbers? Have you got the right tax calculation going through? And then you need to get pay the additional tax that you've underpaid, or indeed ask for a tax credit from HMRC for that you've overpaid. Now, there's a couple of things that you need to be doing here is understanding how to do the online form, making sure that you don't pay too much tax on your CGT disposal, and then making sure you do some sort of tax validation to say, well, how have I minimized my capital gains tax? And that's what we're here for. So why not book a call with Optimize Accountants using the code U225 and get confidence and reassurance that what you're doing is accurate and the tax is minimized at all costs. Now, when we're talking about the CGT, what goes on there? Well, first of all, we've got the 30 days reporting and we've got the sales proceeds of 200,000. And this is an example of £100,000 cost. The gain is £100,000 and they've paid tax of 18%, so 18,000. Now, what we're not doing here is looking at the relief of the capital gains tax annual exemption. We are purposely ignoring it for this example. We're assuming that's already been utilized elsewhere. Now, the tax return comes in and what happens is that they've got the same sales proceeds of 200,000, so there's no adjustment there. However, the base cost of 80,000 is the real number, not the 100,000. They typed in £100,000 because they thought that they had some expenditure of £20,000, but they don't have the receipt. And therefore, they can't really claim for that cost because, well, hey, how do you prove that that £20,000 is indeed for that property? It's pretty much impossible. So the reality kicks in and they put in a cost base of £80,000. So that's a £20,000 adjustment there. The gain has now increased from 100,000 to 120,000. So there's the 20,000 adjustment. And the tax rate is 28%, not 18%. So here they're assumed that they are a basic rate taxpayer. In reality, they are a high rate taxpayer. So now they're paying 28%, which is in total, you've got more for gain and a different tax rate, means that the capital gains tax should have been 33,600, which is £15,600 more to be paid to HMRC by the 31st of January, which is a substantial number, I'm sure you can agree. Now, you need to know if you've paid the right capital gains tax. Now, it could be converted, but you've paid too much. But you really want to have certainty what you're paying to HMRC within 30 days is the right number. And that's what our capital gains tax calculator will do for you. It'll even give you some ideas before you sell the property of ways of minimizing that tax liability. And it's all yours for just £9.95. The link will be appearing above my head and below this video description as well. So go and buy your tax calculator today and save tax tomorrow. Don't forget to smash that like button and the subscription button so you don't miss any future videos. If you've got any questions, be sure to ask those questions in the comments box below and I'll be answering those typically within 48 hours. Now, I shall see you on the very next video. So good luck with the CGT reporting and good luck with your tax returns. I'll see you again soon.